So this reminds me what I was thinking about. I was mopping the floor and everything because I just woke up from a nap, and because me and Sugar we were exposed to something, whatever that came through, because the wind was blowing, and then I sneezed and sneezed, and she sneezed, and then I had to take a nap, and then I woke up and she was shaking, and so I fed the energy, her bacon strips. And then I had to kind of just sort of like wake up a little bit, and then I went and did the dishes and then swept and mopped the floor. But it reminded me when I was thinking about, don't like be humble, don't be complacent, strategize, don't take anything for granted. Okay, you got to think about the bigger you become, the bigger you are. And that's not just size. That's not just like David and Goliath, okay? That's also someone who is really famous or has a huge following that they are beholden to. The bigger you are, the harder you will fall, and then you also get pigeonholed. And that is the dangers of fame and fortune and being given a license to do whatever you want, because somebody will allow you to do that. Someone gave like Kevin Spacey license to do whatever he wanted, like most people in Hollywood. When they become really, really, really famous, well, some people will get that license to be famous for so many years, and then at some point they will have to go through the fall from grace, and it could be over several years. Sometimes it's just like that, where you die from a heart attack and stroke. And sometimes it's like going through, like if you have a weakness. And it could be you have a heart weakness, so you die from a heart attack at a certain age. It could be that you might have a predilection towards certain things, like young men or young women. And they're like, okay, well, you can do whatever you want. We will give you access to whatever you want. Just perform. Just make sure that you are a really good actor and that you get the message across to the world. And so we'll let you do whatever you want. Just like Jeffrey Epstein, they let him do whatever he wanted until a certain point, and then the fall from grace. But he died, or maybe he's somewhere else, who knows. But the one that took the rap, is Ghislaine, but I don't know where she is. And everyone else that was part of that little black book they're all out there doing whatever, and no one's arrested. Okay, none of my business. It's not really going to affect me. But that's what I'm saying. When you are famous, when you become really famous, there is a quid pro quo, and the devil takes his due. And that's the same thing right now in this world, is that when you are taking advantage of being big, whatever it is, in your profession, in your circle of friends, in your health, and you got the lucky genetics, it's only going to last so long because people get too complacent about the gifts that were given to them. They took advantage of it. They didn't really understand what the payment was going to be. And so the payment, when you think about it, is going through the hell of all of your predispositions and dealing with all these new viruses that come through, and handle it and then get back on the horse again, because you're going to have to rest. You're going to have to blow your nose. You're going to have to do all these different things that are going to allow your system to be open. My system is open because today, when I got exposed to whatever variant that came through the eaves, because it was windy outside, I sneezed and I blew my nose and I coughed a little bit. And so that was my opening. That was my system opening up. And then when it didn't need to be open, it closed up again. But that's the thing. My system opens and closes when it needs to, based upon the new viral variants. What happens is people's systems open up and close when they get exposed, but they totally force the closing of their system with a cough suppressant, Mucinex, pineapple juice, any type of drug that will stagnate their ability to purge out. And so, and that's again, taking advantage of what Mother Nature gave to you. But again, the bigger you are, and that could be in size, the harder you fall. And even a person who's skinny, because they can become big when they're skinny. Because they're riding on that societal norm of looking sexy when you're skinny, looking healthy, and everyone's like, oh gosh, you're so healthy, and they're just so jealous of you're able to metabolize things and not gain weight, and you look like, perfect. And that's still becoming big, because then you're riding on the social capital. And then you don't want to gain weight. You don't want to take care of yourself except to project an image. and or you put off an image, whatever that is, without divulging the true reality. They're like, it's none of people's business. But here's the thing, our society has taken itself down because of the images they portray out there. And when finally the society is changing, the simulation is changing, and now it's like, you either deal with these viruses and your predispositions and have to go through the fluctuations of the evolution of the ugly duckling stage, and then the period of equilibrium, and then having to level up, and the changes in whatever. People are not doing that. They want to stay in their old lifestyle. And so again, they're trying to become big, but it's going to be a harder fall for you as you keep procrastinating, facing the reality that we're in a change of simulation, that you're going to have to now deal with this environment. And when you're down sick, yeah, that's the reality that you can't hide from people. And people try to hide it. Let me say, people in my Jelly Juice crowd, they will never tell their friends and family that they are suffering from breakthrough infection, or show anything, or be have any realness that they're going through a stuff. And I understand that. But if you're next to me and you're working with me, I kind of expected it, but it's like, no, you don't have to show, but at least talk about your situation. But let me tell you, some people don't want to talk about that stuff because it would tarnish their image, because they become so big in their world. They become pigeonholed. And that's the whole thing with David and Goliath, because Goliath was huge. He was a big dude. I mean, that was a giant race. That was all the biblical during the days of antiquity, 5,000 years ago. And, and David figured out how to beat Goliath, the giant. He took the rock with his slingshot and right between the eyes and knocked the giant out. And that's what the whole Jelly Juice is against the Catholic Church. I don't say against, but then divulging maybe the Catholic Church wasn't exactly forthcoming in the truth about teratomas and asexuality or asexual reproduction. And it's all about sexual reproduction, right? And I'm up against the big pharma, the holistic system. I mean, these are some major giants in our industry, but I'm doing it in a diplomatic way where I get why they exist. And I get that we have to innovate people. And I understand that we can't have people who are cured like with salt, that they have to be cured with certain things in the medical system. But do we have to die? That's the thing that I have an issue with. Is I'm fine with fine. Everyone be fertile and drop your seeds and go through the evolution. But every single time you take an antibiotic, yeah, you mutate a strain. And every single time you take a detox or anything else that's going to try to stop or counter something, it makes the situation worse. And it's not helping you. And people have a closed system. Either they're curing themselves with so much salt water with the J juice, or they're curing themselves with all their detoxes and their antibiotics and all of their cough suppressants and all of that. And then they are aging, and then they're dying from cancer disease, chronic illness, or heart attacks because they don't feel anything and they don't know what's going on in their body, and they're out there collecting spores from everybody, traveling around. And then one day, Mother Nature says, okay, I'm taking the credit card back. No more credit card anymore. You have maxed it out. And I'm saying that now we're in a new simulation that maybe now it's time to change the way we do things. And right now, our population has gotten so big, and it's going to fall hard. We're already seeing it with all the school issues. We're already seeing it with people just dropping like that from a heart attack and a stroke when they were just posting 12 hours ago. We have people triggering their cancer because of all the different viruses they're taking on, and they have predispositions. And maybe they have a more of a party lifestyle, which is contributing to that. And maybe they're traveling around picking up spores, not realizing they're picking up the AIDS virus. And it's working in the background and they don't even know it. That's the thing, is that our society is going to go through a major hard fall. Okay? And maybe it's time to say, okay, I've played my games. Now it's time to get serious. And so, yeah, we're experiencing the fall of our society. And it's going to be a big one, because 7.9 billion, when you think about it, to 500 million, that's 6 point something billion that are going to have to be recycled back into the universe. Hey, sugar, that's a lot. Okay, fine, sugar. She's a little bitch. I said, okay, you want to go on the bed or whatever? And I'm like, here, sugar. She's like, wah, and she hops away. like a little praying mantis. So anyways, so I just understand that there's a lot to the Hollywood and their contracts of their fame and their fortune, and they're being groomed for their positions, and their fall from grace. No different than David and Goliath, no different than 7.9 billion people going through this major purge, no different than people in their families who aren't facing the reality that at some point you're going to have to change. And if not, then that's fine. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. All right, I'm going to go, but that's it. Bye.